Oftentimes, when we hear the word blind or blindness, we think of the experience of total darkness. We think of someone with no light perception and is unable to see anything. Now, what many of us don't realize, though, is that most blind people can see to some extent. It's actually it's a misconception. It's a total misconception that all people with total blindness only see black. Some blind people are able to tell whether a room is light or dark, even though they cannot physically see it. And others still report seeing flashes of light. And meanwhile, some blind people have difficulty seeing small or distant things. Now, when I used to live in the city, I used to live in Ravenswood, there was a blind man in my neighborhood who regularly just walked around with his guide stick. And I was always afraid for his life. Every time I saw him attempt to cross the very busy street by the Damon Brown line, I lived just right around the corner. I mean, talk about having faith and courage and confidence. He never got hurt. He knew what he was doing. He knew where he was going. And by the way, here's an interesting tidbit about that blind man in my neighborhood. And this is according to the owner of the Thai restaurant near my apartment building, which I frequented. Well, little did I know that blind man also went to that same restaurant. And the owner of the Thai restaurant, here's really this fascinating tidbit that I found out. The owner of the Thai restaurant told me that blind man, I never knew his name though, that blind man would always order a super spicy dish. And we all know a Thai dish can be very spicy. So he would always order like uber, like spicy. And I asked him why. Is there a reason? I mean, I know some people like spicy food, I do. But why? Is there any specific reason? Well, he said, the blind man told him that the second that he would ingest this spicy food in his mouth, it would allow him to see, even for a split second. So, there you go. That's exactly what I was talking about just a moment ago, where even if a person is blind, obviously, that they are visually impaired, they cannot see perfectly like you and I, there's always that chance that they can see something. And in this particular case, this blind man from my neighborhood was able to see, even for a split second, he was able to see something. He was able to see what was in front of him. He was able to see colors. Well, I think in some ways, sighted people like you and me are more blind than the blind. You know what I mean? Sometimes our other senses are not as heightened as our blind brothers and sisters. Our gospel today presents to us a blind man who is in total contrast to what we think of blindness. Blindness, as we know, has been used as a metaphor for separation from God. But this blind man today in our gospel, he's nothing like that. Yes, he's visually impaired, and Jesus restores his eyesight. But if you think about it, he already does see. He sees Jesus as he truly is. He proclaims that Jesus is the Son of David, the Messiah. And furthermore, he realizes Jesus' power and authority and asks Jesus to have pity on him. And of course, finally, he asks Jesus to let him see. Because of his faith, he was never blind. This blind man teaches us to have the same faith, the same trust, and the same confidence in our Lord. It isn't that we shouldn't have confidence in ourselves, but the problem is human confidence is dependent on conditions and circumstances that are often unpredictable. And let's be honest, no one has it all together. We fail, and things happen beyond our control. But we have the one true and only living God we can rely on, a God who will hear us and receive us and attend to us. And so as we receive momentarily the body and blood of Christ, of the Son of David, may we ask God to increase our faith, that we may not be blind, but instead see Jesus as the Messiah. And we have every good reason to proclaim Jesus as the one who brings light to the world.
Thank you for participating in this production of our virtual Mass. Your presence means so much. Every day, so many parishioners connect to OLPH through the digital ministry. The digital ministry is one of almost 80 ministries supported by the parish. That's why your support of the parish is crucial, so we can continue to have the resources to fund all of our ministries that touch the lives of many. Thank you for watching, continue to watch, and thanks again for your support.